This week's developer diary includes quite a lot of information about the work of concept artists. Now, I'm not actually going to cover that. If you want to find out about it, go and follow the link in the description and read the developer diary. What we're going to look at today is the initial concept art for the Aquatics Shipset that we're going to be getting with a new Aquatic DLC. That's going to show off all of the interesting ideas they initially had, and then we're going to finally look at the final designs they went for the shipset. We've also got to get another close look at the new dragon that's going to be included with the Here Be Dragon's origin. That's also included in this DLC. If you enjoy this video, please drown that like button. The first thing they've shown off is where their inspiration came for the ship design. They've looked at the drawings by Ernst Haeckel, a German zoologist, amongst many things, from the 19th century, who made some drawings of Radiolaria, also called Radiozoa, which are protozoa of between about 0.1 and 0.2 millimeters that make really quite intricate mineral skeletons. So they've definitely started from a very organic, very biological place when designing these ships. These are some of the initial concept designs they had for the ships, and what have we got here? Well, we've definitely got something of a stingray in that central design on the top row there. That's something that I think that's actually a really cool design. I'm kind of sad that they didn't go further with that kind of stingray. Now, the bottom right design, that's kind of strange one actually. I think that's it's almost like a flower or something quite plant-like in nature, though it does also remind me of a virus, weirdly enough. But otherwise, as you can see, there's a whole host of concepts they were looking at here. We've also got a slug in the bottom central design, but mainly they really were focused on having this kind of open, glassy substance or material containing an entire ocean inside of the ship. There was quite a bit of style exploration, so we've got what I would say the first ship there on the left that's very kind of molluscoid in design. It's like very much like the mollusk ship types. Then there are some sketches looking at viewports and kind of an exploration on, well, how do we represent those on these ships? I do find it interesting that they've gone for kind of this, we're going to encapsulate an ocean in a star vessel and we're going to have glass so you can see out from inside that ocean. But then we also need viewports. That one, I'm not so sure. You can actually see early on here, we're already getting that kind of radiator fin, dual radiator fin design at the back, or possibly two thrusters or nacelles if you want to go kind of Star Trek on it. And that's definitely present here. There's a whole host of color options they tried out. Some of them definitely look a lot better than others, though it is interesting to see that they've messed around with the ocean that is contained inside the ship. But overall, I think they've ended up going with something that looks like the bottom right design was their kind of go-to in the end for colors. And now we get to look at some 3D models. So this is some interim modeling before they got to the final design, where they're looking at the material explorations. They've taken some of the kind of concepts from the Radiolaria images we saw earlier, or sketches, and they've incorporated that here, I think, into this. They've also got what definitely looks to be coral in the design here, as well as almost kind of a turtle's back. Very, very interesting stuff. This is the Interim cruiser concepts that they had. Again, you can definitely see those nacelles at the back there. I find them quite interesting on the side. We've got quite a fat belly, really, I would say, full of that ocean in all of the concept designs for the center part. Even the carrier, I think some of those at the top look like they could be carrier components. I must admit, I do quite like the hammerhead designs. Here, the central concept art on the bottom row definitely has a hammerhead front like we saw in the last week. I really do like the artwork that the Atlanteans had in the Disney movie Atlantis, how lots of their war machines were all based on organic concepts, for instance, the Leviathan. I was hoping we'd go somewhere down that route. It seems we have a little bit, but possibly not as far as I personally would have liked. With their science ships, they've gone for basically kind of a floating ring, very much like the central core in a Mass Effect Relay, or if you've seen possibly the movie Contact, something like that. We've got these big rings. Maybe they're going to be rotating. I think that's definitely a very cool concept, and I quite like it if we've got something like that. On the left, we have a research station, and on the right, there is a Starbase's science module with a science ship holding pride of place in the center. The first concept, the initial concept they had for Titan class ships was to go for something of a whale shark. You can definitely see here on the bow of those big Titans, it's very much like the open gaping mouth of a whale shark. That's a very cool concept actually. I hope they've gone with something like that later on, but we'll have to keep reading and find out. This is the Deluge Colossus class. We have seen this before in the trailer, and it's great to see it again. This is the initial concept for it. I'm curious about what those kind of plasma tentacles at the very top of the ship are. We've got solid tentacles at the bottom and those very strange tentacles at the top, but I think we'll have to wait till we see it in game and then we'll know more. Here we have what they're going to be making the Starbases look like. This is a Citadel concept artwork for that. And it's definitely very much a jellyfish. We're going to be having giant jellyfish in space for our Starbases. Honestly, I can't fault that one. This one does look pretty cool. If we move on to what the module is going to look like, those module attachments are going to attach under part of the jellyfish's hood, it seems. Though some of them will be floating the turrets. Honestly, I've never been a big fan of Starbase components that are not physically attached to the rest of the Starbase. I'm looking at you, Necroid Shipset. With their mining stations, they have definitely tried to go for a very industrial look. This looks to be kind of a 1950s futuristic style with a little bit of water concept thrown on as well. Definitely though, very much a 50s or possibly 60s style I'm seeing here. Tell me if you think I'm wrong about that in the comment section below, but I definitely think this is quite cool. Here we finally get to see some of the finished designs. First, this is a Titan. Now, the Titan's bow, it does not look like the whalefish. Instead, we've got what looks more like a giant cannon from the 19th or 18th century that you'd have on a warship, a ship of the line. This is the final design for the battleships. I like how the hammerhead section is present both as a top and a bottom mounted part. I'm interested, I can't quite work out which of these are the X slot. I think it's the bottom left, and if so, I'm really happy that we're going to get hammerhead X slots. Though I find the nacelles kind of interesting here. They've gone for two approaches, horizontal and vertically swept under with those nacelles. Now, I like the vertical ones. The horizontally swept under, not such a big fan of those, to be quite honest. But overall, I think this is a good ship set. It's definitely very new and unique, especially with those kind of water features containing the ocean that we've got going on. The juggernaut concept is definitely very interesting, though it is reminiscent of another design I think I've seen before, but I can't quite work out what. Definitely a fan of it though. Whether or not it looks like anything that we've seen before in a different game or different piece of artwork, I very much like this X-Wing style that it's got. And then we've got the final designs for the cruisers. Unfortunately, the cruisers don't really have any kind of hammerhead design going on. They've got a very sharp prow at the bottom of the underneath the bow there, almost like an icebreaker. Though I definitely prefer the nacelles at the back of these ships. Those nacelles are very cool. And the Trekker in me definitely wishes they were slightly larger, or quite a bit larger actually. They have also shown off the concept art for the aquatic dragon that we're going to get with the Here Be Dragons origin, which does look very cool. Here's the first image, is a 2D still of the dragon, and some more images of the dragon. Now from in-game, it's definitely very interesting. Its wings are kind of almost like fronds coming out of it. It's glowing with an inner light, and it looks to be containing a whole body of glowing water. It's definitely a cool piece of artwork, though I'm not sure I am a massive fan of it. I think if I find this Leviathan in-game, not going to be its best friend. Thanks for watching.